today we're in section 2 of chapter 10. Yesterday you learned volume of cylinders. Today you're going to learn volume of cones. Monday you're going to learn volume of spheres. And then the last section is similar solids. Okay? So, most important thing you need to know from this lesson is the formula. I want you to highlight it, circle it, star it. The formula to find volume of a cone. Here's the good news. It is the exact same formula that you learned yesterday, except now you're going to take 1/3 of it. So yesterday with cylinders, you found the area of the base, which is a circle, multiplied it by the height. Okay? Now, today, you're going to do the exact same thing, but then once you get that number, you're going to divide it by 3. Why do you think, look at the shape of a cone. Why do you think I need to divide it by 3? So like with the cylinder yesterday, I just did the area of the base times the height. Why do you think that I would divide it by 3? Remember, volume fills an object. Taylor, what do you think? Doesn't necessarily have 3 sides, but what happens to my sides? They come together. They collapse in. So when that happens, don't you think it loses some of its capacity when that happens? So a cylinder, that's like a can of soda, right? So the capacity is the same from top to bottom. With a cone, the capacity shrinks in order to form that peak at the top. That's why you divide it by 1/3. Because you lose some of that capacity when you form the peak of the cone. All right, so that's cones for you. Let's look at these two. This is actually 2 separate problems. All right, so we're just going to kind of draw a line down the middle to separate the 2 problems. So let's look at the first one that describes it in words. Find the volume of a cone with a radius of 6 centimeters and a height of 15 centimeters. Find the volume of a cone with a radius of 6 centimeters and a height of 15 centimeters. So I'm going to start with my formula. V equals 1/3 the area of my base. So make sure you make it a big B. Area of my base times the height of my cone. So V equals 1/3. Now, in parentheses, I need to find the area of my base. Remember, my base is a circle, so I'm going to say pi. Then what was my radius? 6 squared times the height of my cone, which is 15. Okay, so now it's just a matter of doing the math. And even though you can use your calculators, you have to do this in the right order. What do you do first? Exponent. What is 6 squared? 36. So now do 36. You better not use your calculator for that part. 36 times 3.14. Do that math. What's 36 times 3.14? Okay. Get that number, and then I want you to multiply it by 15. So 36 times 3.14 times 15. All right, and what do you get? Okay, don't be lazy. Put it in your calculator. 1,695.6.
I thought you said don't use your calculator.
I said you can. You can use your calculator in chapter 10. Now, how do I take 1/3 of that? Divide by 3. So 1/3 means I need to divide that number by 3, and that splits it up into 3 sections. So I take 1695.6 and divide it by 3. My question said to round my answer to the nearest tenth, but do I even need to do that? No, because it gave me an answer to the 10. Volume equals 565.2, but now I must label centimeters cubed. All right, so the order that you solve in is important. The order that you solve in is important. All right. Okay, any questions? I want you now to use the figure on the right to plug in your numbers into your formula. Be careful. That's all I'm going to say for now. Just be careful on what values you're plugging in for which variables. All right? And make sure you use your formula. Okay, so let's everybody try to get them plugged in. All right, so volume equals 1/3. Did you guys do 3.14? What is the radius? 2. Did you plug in 4?
No.
Okay, the radius is 2 squared. Okay, 2 squared times what is the height of my cone? 6 times 6. All right, so what is 2 squared? I got to do my exponent first. 2 squared is 4. What is 4 times 3.14?
12.4.
Okay, and then what's that number times 6?
75.32.
All right, so I get 75. V equals 1/3 times 75.36. Then what do I do? What do I do now, guys? One more step. Divide by 3. All right, so my volume is 25.12. And I just say meters cubed. 25.12 meters cubed. All right, any questions? So, guys, that's it. Like, you're just plugging in numbers into a formula. Okay, so to round to the nearest tenth, I do want to follow my instructions. Technically, this is to the 100th. So the 2 keeps the 1 the same, right? So I would just take that 2 off, and I would say 25.1. Technically, if they ask for the 10th, I need to round it to the 10th. All right, so that's a great question. Any other questions? Anything else? Okay, so example 2, all I'm going to do now is find a different dimension. So on this next test, you're going to find the volume, and then you're also going to be asked to find the other dimensions in the figure. Okay, so you guys paying attention? All right, same formula. V equals 1/3 times the area of the base times your height. But now you know the volume. What is your volume? 956 equals 1/3 times 3.14 times what is my radius? 9 squared. If you want to just go ahead and say 81, you could do that. Times what is the height? I do not know it. I don't know it. All right. Do the multiplication. I want you to simplify everything here that's connected to the h. You want to follow order of operations here. Do your exponents first, then multiply, then divide. Right? So I got 956 equals 84.78 H. Did you guys get that? Test it. All right? You should have your calculators with you today. All right, so now how would I solve for H? How do I solve for H? Divide everything by 84.78. Divide both sides by 84.78. And H equals 956 divided by 84.78. All right, I think I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. That's what the instructions say. So I need to do my squiggly sign. It's approximately 11.2 feet. All right, yes, Linda.
Okay, so when you're doing the times by 1/3, how is it like basically dividing 3 by
Yes. So if I was taking 1/2 of it, I would divide it by 2. Like half of 10 is 5 because I divided by 2. Now with spheres, you're actually going to have a number in the numerator, so we'll have to deal with that. But anytime it's 1/3 or 1/4 or 1/5, you're just dividing that number by the denominator. Okay, Keaton?
Wouldn't it be like 11.3? Because there's a 7.
Yes, it would be 11.3. That's my second rounding little thing. So good eye on that. It was 11.27, so I rounded up to 11.3. All right, any other questions? Yes.
Would it be cubed or squared?
Yep, it would be cubed. All right, good job, guys. I like it. All right, any other questions? Good job. Okay, example 3 now. So I solved for volume. I solved for height. So guess what I'm going to solve for now? Radius. Okay, so I'm going to use the same formula. V equals 1/3 base times height. So V equals, I got my volume is 80, equals 1/3. Now for the area of my base, I'm going to run into a little issue because I know 3.14, but I don't know the radius. And I know that I am supposed to square my radius, but I don't know what it is. What's my height? 9. All right, so here's where order of operations is going to help us. I can't take 1/3 of 3.14 r squared. That's just going to be messy, right? But order of operations says I can take 1/3 of the height if I could take that evenly. What's 1/3 of 9? 3. So now I could say 80 equals, what's 3 times 3.14? Let's go ahead and do that. 3 times 3.14.
9.4.
Yep, 9.42 r squared.
Wait,
Okay, what's up?
I just multiplied it by 9 and I still got the same answer.
Multiplied what by 9?
I multiplied 3.414 by 9.
That's fine. You can do that. All right, so now divide both sides. So now I'm just solving an equation. I'm solving for r. Divide both sides by 9.42. $80 divided by 9.42. $80 divided by 9.42. Okay, so did you guys get about 8.5?
Yeah.
Okay, so 8.5 equals r squared. This is where what we learned in the last chapter is going to be really important. Is 8.5 a perfect square? Is it a perfect square, guys? No, it's not. But it's really, really close to a perfect square. Which perfect square? 9. Can't I take the square root of 9 pretty easily? So when I have to take the square root of r, I'm going to say r is approximately 3. It's really, really close to 3, isn't it? Because the square root of 9 is 3. So it's really close to 3. So there comes that approximation again that you just had on your last test. All right, r is approximately 3. There's no modeling real life in your notes? That's okay. We can practice it in big ideas. All right, so that'll be everything for our notes today.